Welcome to this episode of Fargonauts, as the Broichi boys and men, we watch some 80s nostalgic pilot episodes of classic cartoons that almost had a copacetic relationship with toys and toy sales and things like that.
It's almost their whole existence.
Yeah, it made them last longer than typical, because all of the greatest shows that we grew up with had great toys also. They had...
I was going to say, yeah, if the toy line was successful, it lasted. If it was not
Correct.
successful, it did not. We've got a couple of those on this list, I think. But...
We do, and we have some... We try to watch the first episode. If it's a pilot episode, it's usually broken into two parts, but we try just to get first-hand reactions of if we would continue watching this based on just the pilot itself.
Yep.
And we will go into deeper explanations of that when we start tiering these out on a little tier list. But
Yep.
I first want to give a shout out to the Secret Universe, who commented on our
Thundercats.
Yeah, we kind of briefly explained what this project is, where we just, we're looking at all avenues of things, and I don't typically would just want to go the action route with some of these. I do want to get into the things that I might not be more versed in with the Care Bears, because I do remember when they were a huge deal. Cabbage Patch, that was also a huge deal. Rainbow Bright also had a tie-in, like cartoon.
All those fuckers had tie-in cartoons, comics, all that stuff.
Yeah, and Secret Universe gave us a really great comment breaking some of the stuff down.
A little history and tidbits and info.
Yeah,
Love
a lot of great insight. So I recommend going to check out those comments that are on the Thundercat video, and read them for yourself and give Secret Universe a follow, because they have some really interesting content on that site. If you're really into nostalgic public access kind of things like a Mr. Rogers or Sesame, reading Rainbow even, it's kind of like those
Bring
educational.
the mood down.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Not to bring the mood down.
Mm-hmm.
But there was some news that broke a few days ago that the voice actor of He-Man, John Irwin, has passed away at the age of 88. Which we just recently, I think that was the most recent one that was published, probably, was He-Man. Right?
Yep.
I think.
Right. Yep. Yeah.
Apparently he died around December 20th of last year, but he was very private, so...
Oh, sure.
Stuff that hasn't got out till now, but he did pass away. He was also the voice of Beastman as well.
Oh, that's a big rip.
But yep, so big rip to John Irwin.
And he had the power.
Yeah.
Just
He
know
had the power with
He
an
did.
echo
Great
and
voice.
reverb.
Yep, dude. Just all you became He-Man, you get a lot of echo, reverb, and a little more gravitas, and it worked.
Well, rest in power.
So R.I.P. to that man. Just so happened to be when we were doing this series that we find out about it, but yep. But today, what are we doing? We're doing
Voltron.
Voltron.
So we watched Transformers, and this is another big robot.
Yes.
And it's Legendary Defender. Is that what the
Combined.
full title was called?
Yeah. Yeah.
Defender of the Universe,
Right.
I think.
Yeah, Defender of the Universe. It's one a lot of us know.
Yeah.
I
know it very recently because the Netflix iteration.
The Netflix. Yeah, that was great.
It was. I liked it.
But I would watch reruns back in the day. They even had not toys from the 80s one. There was like some weird like 90s one that I had some toys of that had like they still had costumes, but they're much more kind of Power Ranger-y looking. They were like solid colors, and their helmets were they had helmets that were like actually shaped like the lion heads, kind of pretty tight.
Oh, that is cool.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the princess, God, I forget her name, but her head came off because she had a real tiny neck. So one time her helmet got stuck on her ponytail, and I was trying to pull it off, and I just yanked her head off. Yeah. The female figures, dude. That's the same thing that happened with my my Chitara action figure that I had of my brother's. Real skinny neck. That neck broke off as well. But
Do you know what neck wouldn't
yeah.
break off if you bought it now, Bradshaw?
What?
Mumbo Jumbo.
Yeah, dude. No, Mumbo Jumbo neck ain't going nowhere, bro. It was released in 1984. Total of 124 episodes. It was an adaptation of the Japanese robot anime Beast King Go Lion.
Oh, sweet.
It was dubbed into English and edited to create Voltron episodes. Basically, what they did is they took this show and then they just wrote their own story on top of it.
What they did, if I may,
Yeah.
is they went to a mid to like low, like slightly elevated tier fancy party, and they looked around and they saw, oh, spare ribs, and they saw, oh, they got little smashed fingerling potatoes, and they saw somebody throwing away a plate, and they say, hold on, we'll take those anime scraps. You take those ribs, you take those potatoes, put them in a pot with some hot water, redub it, baby. You got a stew, you got a Voltron going.
You got some Voltron gumbo.
Perfect. They what's funny is that since just like combining big robot shows were just popular at that point, so like they're like, okay, we're gonna do a second season of it, but this time we're just gonna take another completely different anime, which was Armored Fleet Dairuger 15, and turn that into Vehicle Voltron.
Oh,
Completely non-connected series, but they just, all right, we're just doing a thing and combining it together, which is hilarious. Of course, I looked through like some of the voice cast too, and like the guy who's the voice of Keith and Pidge was also in G.I. Joe and Transformers. Michael Bell, who's the voice of Lance and Sven, was in Transformers, G.I. Joe, Houndcats, Rugrats, Smurfs. Lenny Weinrib, who was the voice of Hunk and Prince Lotor, was on like some Scooby Doo's and Smurfs, and one of them, which we will notice, I'm sure, right away, is the voice actor for the character of Corin, and also the narrator is Peter Cullen.
yeah, Optimus.
So it's the guy who's the voice of King Zarkon was also on Transformers and G.I. Joe. Like a lot of these shows, all these motherfuckers are just on it, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, let's get into Voltron. I'm excited to get into this one. After Groucho and I did a dual watch of Silverhawks, that was a sort of a letdown, we would kind of say. I mean, it was it was the most first episode, pilot episode of a show ever.
The most first episode of all of them so far, 100%.
Yeah. But I'm excited to see this one, see if this one holds up.
Yeah, and Silverhawks also was like literally just copy pasting Thundercats, but for space and sci-fi instead of like science fantasy or like fantasy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Their theme songs even followed the same pattern, which is weird.
Mm-hmm.
But
let's see Voltron's intro. If you guys can remember, let's see what it is.
The legend of Voltron, defender of the universe.
This is a pretty like episode 1 ass episode too. You know what I mean? There's about we haven't even gotten Voltron yet. We haven't met the princess yet.
No,
we haven't. There's a lot of things that haven't happened yet.
We just know the bad guys and the good guys.
We got a lot of pigeon squawks though.
Yep.
That's a pretty badass shot.
Dude, I'm gonna come.
Oh,
so badass.
I was saying during this too, it has like all the hallmarks of like a show that was just written on top of, because it's like so much of it was just them describing what's on screen. Yep. You know, not like actual any story things or like organic conversation or anything. It was just like, hey, look, the bad guys are here and destroying people. Oh, we're in this spaceship. We should go help. and it's like it's all very yeah. silly.
Writers, this will be so easy. You just watch this and write down what you see. That's the
Yep.
Bad
dialogue.
guys are attacking this planet.
Yep.
Well, what do you
So
guys
basically
think
we
of
have-
Voltron? Just other than that, like action and all those
We
little
were-
criteria we came up with.
Wilson was saying it was one of the more enjoyable, but for like all the wrong reasons.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think I observed all three of us probably having a good time just riffing on it, like in good natured, but like
Yeah.
definitely doesn't take itself too seriously.
Yeah, it was and it was obviously just poorly done. But
How about
yeah,
the
poorly
animation?
produced. The Hiringa of fucking Sven always got me.
I guess they did the best that they could to a degree, but
Yeah, the animation's fine. It looks like those late '70s, early '80s anime. You know what I mean? Like it's fine. Looks better than He-Man.
Yeah.
Even though they reused the shit out of a bunch of animation in here, but
yeah, well, and even the dub, like, yeah, clearly it's a little bit subpar, but for the time, and it does have a little bit more charm to it than a few of the others that we've watched in that way.
yes, there's definitely charm there. We get most of our characters' personalities through. Except Sven seems very just heringa-deringa. In the original series is based on. I mean, this will happen in the second part, I guess, maybe a little later. But Sven, in Voltron, I guess, in this show, he gets captured or whatever. But in the original show, he actually gets just fucking killed. That's why everyone moves up a lion.
Moves.
Moves up a line.
The feet become the arms become the.
The head becomes the groin.
Sven was the black lion, right? And he has the black uniform. And then, Keith was the red lion and he had the red uniform. And Lance was the blue and he had the blue. Hunk was the yellow, he had the yellow. Pidge was the green, he had the green. Then Sven got murked. And then Allura joins and becomes the blue one instead of the black one for some reason. Well, I guess the black one's supposed to be the leader lion. So then Lance is, or Keith gets moved up to leader.
Yeah, do they get their suits with their tiger lion thingies?
Yeah, it's kind of like they kind of go down like a little chute thing, or do they do a little transformation sequence? Can't remember if they go down a little chute thing or if they have a
One of those.
transformation sequence.
That old chestnut.
Let's see.
Going down the chute that dresses you.
Yeah.
Imagine having one of those in the morning.
Oh man.
You're barely awake and all of a sudden you're plummeting down. Actually, that can be a fun way to wake up in the mornings, going down a slide.
Why is it that they all look so weird? Like they're all if you were to look at them with their clothes, their
that's
professions
exactly what I'm doing. Yep.
don't match. They don't look like a team at all.
Well,
They don't look like part of a crew. Pidge just looks like
Child.
tassels on. Yeah.
They're
still color coded.
Yeah,
like
like
Power
however
Rangers.
this came together, they tried to make the character, people characters match the color identity of their lions to some degree. So
Yeah.
the
Just like
kids
Power
would have an
Rangers.
easier time. Yeah.
And it's to give them, I guess, their own visual personality too.
Yeah.
Outside of.
What would you say Lance's personality is?
Cool guy.
Well,
Cool guy?
so Sven is dressed in what I typically believe to be, I think it's a Chinese, I don't know if it's a martial arts gi or whatever. And then
The futuristic, looking like Bruce Lee
Pig?
almost.
yeah, and Pidge is in this weird frilled it's like what would be a western, a southwest with
Very
but
Western
it's green. Yeah. And then Keith or whoever's in the red is in a racing uniform. It's just it's
Yeah, Keith looks like
really
a Formula One
specific
racer.
identities, but weird at the same
Lance is
time.
just a cool guy.
Lance is just cool. He's got a jacket. He's like,
Yeah, Hunk is like Earth Tones Han Solo.
Yeah. Yep. What's funny too is I was thinking about it when we were watching this is like G-Force, Battle Planet, Scotchmon, whatever, follows the like same thing. They have a little kid fucking one. They've got a big guy, the two, the leader, and then like the second in command that kind of wants to be leader too, and then like girl,
Lady.
It's like the same makeup except they're just dressed like birds instead of going lions. I shared the first like transformation sequence or whatever in Discord for this, and yeah, they do like they go on this weird little zip line thing, and then they like when they jump into their little ships that go into the lion, they're just in their costumes. It's pretty funny.
was this one Bracho that has also a comic from last year?
Voltron?
The last couple years?
No, Voltron currently does not have one.
Okay.
But it has multiple times in the past.
What was the last one we talked about? There was like a Voltron tie-in with another IP, I think, wasn't it? Could be mistaken, but I thought that maybe that was the last thing we talked about regarding Voltron.
Off the top of my head, there's been some cool toys recently within the last 5-ish years, like a Voltron Lego set, which is pretty tight.
Okay.
And there's like an anniversary, I think, not Lego, just like big ass nice toy. Voltron crossover with anything? I don't think so.
Yeah, I could be mistaken too. I just when the show was happening on Netflix, that's when I was really into it because they did a great job with that and kind of making it last and like kind of evolving the lore a little bit and yeah, tweaking a few things here and there. But I really enjoyed that interpretation of it, and maybe that was just around that time it was becoming more popular. But yeah, maybe that was probably it. But did you guys have any Voltron toys?
Like I was saying, when we first started, I definitely had some action figures from like one of the sequel series. It was Voltron: The Third Dimension, I think was what it was called. But nothing from the original one.
Okay.
For one reason or another. I don't know. My brother just didn't have them. It's where I got them all. It was just from those old ones were from my brother. So if he didn't have them, I didn't have them.
I think I had a black lion growing up, but I had no idea where it came from. Like I had no clue like what it was from. Like I was like, okay, this is not a Transformer. It's not a something, and nobody told me what it was from. But I specifically remember having a black robot lion thing. Yeah, I have not too vivid memories, but like it's I forget the scale of it even because I was so young that everything kind of seemed a certain size in kid hands.
Right.
But yeah,
I just shared the action figures I had back in the day. They look much better than the actual like cartoon show looked. That was like a horrible CG mess. But the toys were tight as shit.
sure.
Look at this. This hot garbage, dude.
Oh my goodness.
It's like reboot, but like
Wow. Hunk has to just be wide face.
oof.
Yeah, and like
Ugh.
this is what those helmets looked like in the show, but the toys are so much cooler.
I don't know. That's a
Okay.
pretty cool looking
Is it?
show.
I want that VHS. That looks great.
Hey, do you want to know what I just got on VHS the other day?
What?
The Adventures of Pinocchio, starring one Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
nice. Is it one of those lenticular covers with the
Yeah, it's the
three-dimensional?
holographic.
Yeah.
Turns from puppet to real boy.
Martin Landau. I had that one too.
Yeah, Martin. I got a holographic Martin Landau.
The holographic Martin. Edition. Holographic Martin.
What else can we say about this? Initial reactions to the plot and the pacing.
Plot was real basic because it was just using the circumstances they were handed in the animation.
Yep. I think
Pacing was trash too because again it was just compiled nonsense.
it was, and there was just like, we just need to get them out of here and go to the planet Eris so they can just stumble upon the lion statue that like sucks them from space.
The good stuff, dude.
The tractor beam from the lion.
I will say that simple little theme for Voltron musically always gets me.
Sure.
Can still slap. I
It
sang
was-
it every time it came up, pretty much.
It was it was like shocking how I didn't remember that, but then hearing it, I was like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, that's lived in my head in some little corner.
Mm-hmm. Crazy. And I mean, obviously, it has staying power. If not only because it just looked cool, because like we were saying, there's the, the Legendary Defender, TV show that was a reboot. There was the series I was talking about was a sequel series that took place 5 years after it, and that was in like the 90s. And then there was another show called Voltron Force. That was like them and like three cadets they had. It was on like Nicktoons from like 2011. So I mean, it's popped up damn near every decade since it. There's an 80s, there's a 90s, there's a 2000s, and there's a 2010s. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like Transformers, kind of in that way.
Yeah, exactly. Like they give it a shot every so many years. But that Legendary Defender, that was dope.
And I'm telling you, it's like Gundam, Transformers, Voltron. There's something about big robots that just like resonates with people.
Mm-hmm. It's sick, dude.
But I thought that this was a fun time. I would again, like, so many of these. I would say that like fewer of however many total we've watched by now, 6 different shows.
Something like that, yeah.
4, 5, 6 different shows. Fewer of them have been ones that I would say, nah, I'm good. And there have been more where I'm like, yeah, you want to give me like a little short list, a little like hand-picked few? I'll watch them. I'll check out more.
Oh yeah, and like what I like too is it's we are getting like a lot of these people that are making like the newer versions of these shows, kind of like us, where we're like, man, there's cool stuff in here, but it just wasn't delivered well then. And then now these people are coming in like, all right, this was a shit we liked, but what if we made it and actually made it like as cool as it seemed to us? You know what I mean?
That's extremely true. And able to add their own like, dimensions on top of that and their own takes and stuff, which is always welcome. I feel like.
Oh yeah, 100%.
While not very like straying too far and still paying homage and like giving respect to the thing that they loved from before that was in there.
Right.
I think that's a good note to end it, because a lot of the times when you were watching these in the 80s, you didn't have a choice really to like pick and choose what you got to watch. You just like, hey, I'm just going to get into this because it's something new and I have nothing else to do, and I'm just going to stick with it, and good or bad, I'm just going to sit with it. But now we have the, that oversaturation of like everything is, either being remade or new things coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Like we've talked about before, there's a resurgence of 80s things. There's media, like things are being rebooted in comics and everything, and there's always a new iteration of Transformers and Turtles. And there's always, something that always pops back up for just a little bit, but then goes away. And that's kind of what we hope to do with this series is like, yeah, we know at the time people do have nostalgia goggles for these shows, but now having this kind of retrospective look back, we can analyze it a little bit more and be like, yeah, it doesn't really hold up. And that's why we kind of look for those specific episodes that really kind of brought people into that universe and really like, oh yeah, this solidified it. Like, yes, the first maybe 3 or 4 episodes are kind of shaky, but once they get into the groove, then they hit their stride, and it's like, it's great after that. But at first glance, this pilot, I would say, along with a lot of other pilots we watched, didn't really hit that mark. And I mean, it's not to detriment their nostalgia or to, diminish their impact on the cultural relevance or anything like that. Yeah. But it's like, it's just to, critically analyze it for the first time viewing. And
after us not seeing a lot of these since we were children,
right?
Too, or never at all. The fun little what the story of Beast King Go Lion actually is. What they just wrote on top of for this. The story originally was set in 1999 when the planet Altea is subdued and enslaved by the Galra Empire. Meanwhile, 5 space pilots return to Earth from their latest space exploration, only to find the planet annihilated by war, World War III. Suddenly, the explorers are ambushed, captured, and enslaved by the visiting Galra Empire. Then they are forced to fight for their lives in Emperor Daibazal's arena. The young pilots escape and eventually land on the planet Altea, where they discover the secret of the mighty sentient robot Go Lion, the only weapon powerful enough to defeat Emperor Daibazal's forces. Thousands of years ago, Go Lion was an arrogant robot who, after defeating several beastmen, tried to challenge the goddess of the universe into battle, but failed. For Go Lion's hubris, the goddess taught him humility by separating him into 5 pieces in the form of 5 lion robots that sailed through space, crash-landed on Altea, to lay in wait for those who would one day reawaken him to fight evil once again. So,
and one becomes the arm, and one becomes the leg, and one becomes the head.
But they showed this in the episode we watched, they showed him like, oh yeah, he was a great warrior, and then one day he thought he was getting some whatever, and it was actually the evil witch, and when it was actually him just challenging the goddess of the universe, and that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's funny. Love it. Love it. And they kept some of that stuff, like for Voltron Legendary Defender, instead of Eris, I think it was called Altea in that. And instead of Sven, it was Shiro, Takashi Shirogane, who was the name of the character in Voltron, or in Beast King Go Lion.
That makes more sense with his costuming. I mean, the costuming of that guy looks like he's a Shiro type character, not like a Sven.
So it's kind of cool that Voltron Legendary Defender took also some inspiration from the original one and brought it in. Mm-hmm. Very cool. Very cool.
Very cool.
But yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, it was good. I liked just riffing it with you guys. I'd watch more if we could just keep, kind of making fun of the bad edits and.
Yeah, it's a good riff show.
It's almost like we could do a better job doing the story and doing the voices for these people than they did.
Bill.
So do you want a Hernga-Dernga or?
Yeah, can we get one more take of the Hernga-Dernga, please?
Hernga-Dernga.
Gonna need some incidentals, hurt noises in Hernga-Dernga.
Ouchie, ouchie.
Hey!
I got to boo-boo.
Oof.
Well, yeah, this is another call out to those who have seen this and have some knowledge of it. Like our buddy over at, what was it, Secret Universe? Yeah, Secret Universe.
Yes.
who commented in length of, you know, different nostalgic cartoons and things like that. Let us know what episodes of this are good. I mean, I'd be down to revisit this one if we get a good, you know, like, you got to watch this episode of this season, because this ran for what, Bradshaw? You said like 3 seasons or so?
124 episodes.
Oh, okay.
I think that's including Vehicle Voltron.
Oh, all right. Wow.
So that would be, let me see here. Yeah, it's at 120 episodes, 124. Says, yeah, 124 episodes. Part 1.
It's got to be 3 seasons then.
52 episodes in the first season. And then we did do it says original American created episodes starring Lion Force Voltron. So we did make actual episodes of Lion Voltron in the US, I guess, for 19 episodes. And then, yeah, Vehicle Voltron was another, you know, episode 73 to episode 124 were Vehicle Voltron. So, yeah, it was on for a while, 84 to 85. So, not that long, but, yeah, crazy.
So, yeah, it's... I wouldn't know if they had like a hiatus, or if like a new producer from America like decided to take a stab at, you know, doing it, because we know that there are some shows that come through and they get kind of filtered through, like, oh, let's do our dub, and then later on somebody else does their own different dub of it.
Yeah, it seems because the way they list part 2, it just says original American created episodes starring Lion Force Voltron. So I don't know if that means they actually made full on episodes in the US for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Or if that means we just took a bunch of fucking animation from episodes that they didn't use and made more. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay. Well, thanks for joining us on this, and we'll be back next time with some G-Force. Later, y'all.
Oh, yeah.
Bye.